This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And I want to start out again, COVID, an update of what we're seeing. And it looks like right now we're starting to see a change in direction, a change in the cram down of government on the people. And we're starting to see now governors stepping away from their mandates and the locking people in and these vaccine mandates that they've tried to cram down on people. And we're seeing states, blue states, that are lessening their this mandate tyranny that we've seen throughout the nation. So what we're seeing right now is let's just go over some of the states this past week that have announced that they're going to be lifting these mask mandates. So we're seeing California probably February 15th, Delaware they're looking at this week, New York lifting the mandates here today was they had lifted it. Oregon is talking about next month. Rhode Island is has lifted their mandates this week. We're seeing governors of Connecticut, Delaware, New Jersey, and Oregon lifting the mask mandates. And also Massachusetts is on that. I believe it was this past Wednesday that they have lifted the mask mandate. So we're seeing changes that are taking place, and I really think that a lot of this comes down to, hey, the primaries. We're talking about in the end of the year, November. Voters are going to be making a bold statement of how they feel these lockdowns and vaccine mandates and the pressure that the government has been trying to put on people and force them to do what the government wants. And I think that the polling has been showing that the people aren't happy. And I think the Democrats see the writing on the wall, and they're trying to take a step back right now. I think, though, that it's a lot too little, too late, and I don't think that they're going to think that they're going to skate by, and we're not going to see a major shift when it comes to the House and Senate. And I think even some governor's races, there may be a shift that these voters have had enough of it, and that's why you're seeing this is a time right now where the rhetoric, even the Faucis are talking about, oh yeah, maybe we're at an endemic point. So we'll see how this continues to play out, because there are still some states out there that want to keep their stranglehold on the people. I'd like, excuse me, I'd like to talk a bit this past week, or last week, end of last week, there were a dozen Virginia, Loudoun County in the news again. And when we talk about, the polling, as I just mentioned here, the polling seems to be the people have had enough. Well, there's more students, high school age students that have stepped forward and said that they don't want to wear the masks, and that took place in Loudoun County, and students attempted this past week to bring, a myriad of affidavits to the school board and to bring before them regarding the mask mandates and CRT, critical race theory, and what's being shoved on these students, or what they're expected that they have to go along with. So that outpouring, there's still the parents and students are putting more pressure on this Loudoun County school system. I like to talk about it, kind of sticking with COVID. This past or last week, Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams kind of stepped in it. She was out in a elementary school, and she had a picture taken, and there you've got all these kids around her, all masked up, and there's Stacey Abrams, no mask, smiling, and that really solicited a lot of remarks and people looking at that and saying, oh yeah, okay, look at the double standard here. Yeah, the kids are all masked up, and there's Stacey Abrams, no mask on, taking photos there. So she this past, I believe it was this past Tuesday, she apologized for her the picture and not having a mask on when she was there. So she caught a lot of heat for that, and she was. It took her a while because this happened last week, and it wasn't until this week that she actually came up with an apology. I'd like to talk right now, and we looked at this last week, but it has continued to build, and we're seeing it. This is a national movement, but it's really turning into almost a global movement, and that is the Canadian Convoy, the truckers that have been really bringing their protest and just pushing back against this Trudeau government that has been, putting lockdowns and tyranny against the people. Over this last year, we've seen pastors pushing back and during church service of having the police and officials coming into church saying you've got to shut the church down and this can't happen, to the pastors actually being detained and arrested out in the street there and going to jail because of them opening their church for church services. And, Trudeau, it's like, hey, you're going to do it my way. And if you want to, especially when it comes to these truckers right now, Trudeau is calling them terrorists and racists and every name that he can think of right now. And I think what tells a different story is it's not just the truckers out there, but you had people on overpasses, on bridges, waving the Canadian flag and cheering on the truckers. It wasn't just the truckers that were rising up and saying no more of this. Now, we have heard that there's in Ottawa, the capital of Canada, we've heard some of the residents there saying that the horns and it have been disruptive. I think what we're seeing is a lot of the horns are going off during the day, but there might be, and again, in any movement, there may be some that have gone overboard. But, when you start talking about going overboard, what Trudeau's government and what Trudeau has been doing to the citizens for over 2 years, let's start talking about that. You've got truckers that and the residents rising up and saying, we want to get our country, we want to get our lives back. That's important. And they have been peaceful. And Trudeau wants to do everything in the book. And in fact, he's already starting to, the influence he's trying to push now. We're putting the police to somehow find fault with the truckers, any excuse they can find to have the police move in. But right now, there are all eyes on Canada and what the police are trying to do. And they have been pretty much stepping back and just watching. These crowds are massive. And, we're not just talking Ottawa, we're talking Alberta. We're talking there in, I believe, there's some of the border crossings right now. There's been some major impact of the traffic jams and getting across the border to the U.S. So a lot has been happening there. And I believe that we're starting to see, because I know Alberta, I think Saskatchewan, the provinces have already said they're lifting the mask mandates. These mask mandates and vaccine passports and all that, they're doing away with it. So there is some of these provinces now are starting to say, okay, we're going to be lifting these, and I think we're going to see more and more of that take place. And again, I hear that we may have a convoy of our own here in the States come March. I believe that they're planning on having a freedom convoy here in the States. So we'll see more of that. But right now, what I'd like to do is to share a little bit of what's been going on here over this past week and over the weekend regarding Canada and this freedom convoy. And we're going to hear some snippets throughout. There'll be 3 or 4 or 5 different video clips here. But we're going to see some response from the leadership in government, from the right to Trudeau, trying to justify what he's been trying to push in trying to shut this freedom protest down. So you'll get a flavor of what the politics there are with Trudeau and some of the other, Trudeau being on the left side of the party, and then you'll be hearing some from the right bringing some points out when they're at their so-called parliament. So let's take a look here and see what's been taking place further. We saw some of what was taking place last week, and we're going to see some more of what has been taking place on the ground for the truckers there in Canada. Take a look.